All right. Good morning, everyone. All right. Good morning. Good evening. I'm not sure you are from the US or from other regions tuning in, but anyway, so welcome to the last video of this year. So if you are watching live at any given time, if you think my volume is too loud, too soft, put it in the chat. Okay, I'll be monitoring the chat so that the audio doesn't so it's not so messed up. One of the last time people complain about my voice being too loud or too soft. Anyhow, so I want to wrap up this year with a COVID topic that is related to IgG4. Now, this is not very new. I'm sure you may have heard of that from other presenters on YouTube, but I want to do a little bit overall update, just so that we are a little bit more on the same page. All right. Now, so let's take a look of this article here. Now, so this is the first report of increased spike protein specific IgG4 levels after repeated COVID mRNA vaccination, that which came out last December. Okay, and so here's the title. Now there's a little bit footnote here. It says anti-spike IgG4 rises from obscurity, meaning there wasn't supposed to be a lot, not a whole lot, but it just went up higher, okay, than expected. So why is the increase in IgG4 noteworthy for discussion? This is because this subclass of antibody IgG is quite different than other subclasses in IgG antibody family. So let's have a very quick overview so that everybody is on the same page. Now, so in simple word, IgG antibodies in general play a very important role in the immune system by recognizing to specific antigens such as spike protein and or other pathogen antigens, making them easier for destructions or removal by other immune cells. So it worked, hands in hand. It doesn't work alone. Antibody alone doesn't mean a whole lot. All right. So each IgG subclass, there's different IgA, IgE, IgM, IgG. Here is the focus. Now within IgG, there's still 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. So IgG4 in particular is known for its relatively weaker ability to activate complement. So here is a very nice infographic showing that, hey, IgG4, okay, it can do neutralizations, okay, but it has decreased complement activation, opsonization, ADCC. So they are all mechanisms that bridge the antibody adaptive immune system to the inborn innate immune system. So that's what IgG is weaker. Okay, so because this is a IgG4 is weaker immune response, sometimes it is being termed or being referenced as non-inflammatory antibodies. All right, so that is in a nutshell. Okay, now so the report from last December, published in this top tier science immunology journal, reported that IgG4 is abnormally higher than IgG1, 2, and 3 in individuals who received 2 mRNA vaccine doses, and it got even higher after the third dose. So, right, so what they did here is they took the serum from these individuals, tested their immune responses, and because of the weaker IgG4 was more than other IgG, it was higher than normal. Okay, they saw an overall decrease in antibody-dependent phagocytosis or complement deposition. Okay, so what does all that mean? Okay, you don't hear you're not here just to hear science mumbles, right? So in layperson's term, the serum's antibodies, which taken from people who received 3 doses, have weaker out-of-body immune responses than those who received 2 doses. Now, based on this observation, just this observation is a very immunological observation. The additional dose may be bad for the overall immune response. Now, remember, just be careful. This is an out-of-body immune response observation. So I want to ensure this statement does not get hijacked. It does not mean that the third dose was clinically less effective or ineffective. Okay, so here this confined in this immunological study. So the story ended the initial report. So fast forward, there's another article that came out this um, August. Okay, so fast forward here. So here is the title. A newer study published in Nature Scientific Reports, in saying that not everyone who received the mRNA vaccine had an increase in IgG4. All right, so I hope my I got a little bit hiccup there. Let me repeat this. A newer study saying that not everyone who received the mRNA vaccine had an increase in IgG4. So people who received the AstraZeneca vector-based vaccines got infected first and then get the mRNA vaccine. Particularly this one, they're probably referring to either one. Okay, either the Pfizer, Moderna. Okay, those people did not have a jump in IgG4. So it makes me you wonder, right? It appears that a jump in this IgG4, this non-inflammatory IgG, was exclusive to those who only received the mRNA vaccine and who were infected first. Okay, and after infected after taking the mRNA vaccine, I should say that. So let me rephrase this. So at this point, it seems that the increase in IgG4 is only concerned with those who primed with mRNA vaccine before infection, and those who had 3 or more, maybe more mRNA vaccine and presumably never got infected. All right. So it is quite interesting. All right. Now, at this point in time, we're 3 years into the vaccine emergency authorizations. It was first authorized in 2021, right? December. And many people now have received 4, 5, or even more doses of mRNA vaccines. Unfortunately, we're at a point that we don't have a report on how these later doses changes the IgG4 level. Now, a hypothesis, okay, let me say that. A hypothesis could be that IgG4 level increased after each additional dose. Now, it could be higher each time, or it could be plateaued at a specific but a more elevated level for a given time after the additional dose. Now, so we don't know if that's the case. We don't know if that's the case because we don't have studies, on those things. Now, I repeat this. We don't have studies on how additional mRNA vaccines induce elevated IgG4 levels affect our immune system beyond the third dose. So far, what I've seen, even in some articles in preprint, is still looking at 3 doses. Right? So 3 doses, I presume, is more common among the greater populations worldwide. Probably that's one of the reasons. Now, I'm not sure how you feel about that, but it is quite uncomfortable for me without having the additional knowledge about this elevated IgG4 phenomenon. Now the US authority basically broadly recommends this fall booster to everyone who is age eligible. Now, there could be many reasons. They could say that, well, a lot of Americans are obese. Okay, a lot of Americans have other problems, and compared to our counterpart, we always compare US to the UK population. Now, the UK had age targeted recommendations, but they have a different health systems than the US. So many people argue that, well, they may afraid that if the US government made the age eligible recommendations, some insurance won't pay. For example, someone living with old people, right? So that may carry the risk. So there could be many reasons, but but a lot of people, even taking this age eligible recommendations, still want to think a little bit into their health decisions and wonder, well, what happened with this additional booster. So that's one of the reason I think a video of mine that was published in September that got watched a lot and commented a lot, discussed a lot. Well, the short message from that video was that while some elderly people have some conditions, maybe they're more fragile, the immune response basically plateaued after this many doses of mRNA vaccine. So it really couldn't boost any more further, particularly in some of the cellular side. Now, some viewers, and in the comments, argue that they had zero problem. Some expressed their personal problem, okay, with 5, 6, 7 doses or something like that. Now, for the sake of argument, I know I respect everybody's personal experience. I'm not trying to deny anything that you experienced with your friend, loved ones, or your family members. But for the sake of argument, let's assume there's no apparent long-lasting side effects, right? Okay, but at this point in time, the apparent benefits are also quite limited with each added doses, especially for the younger and healthier people. The healthier elderly people, they exist. Okay, not everyone old is fragile. Okay, we have to remember that. Now, the booster protections against infections, that is good. Okay, once you get something in there, you boost your antibodies, lasts for about 2 months in most people, then it drops. It has been consistent for this mRNA vaccine technology. They didn't change the platform. They only changed the spike protein a little bit each time. So there's the studies, they all show that it goes up and comes down. All right. Now, so the benefit is pretty limited at this point for a lot of people. Now, someone would argue that getting more doses, would have protections against long COVID. Right? Long COVID is something that baffles a lot of people. We're making progress to study. So is that the case? Well, yes and no. Yes and no. Why? Why? Let me put up this article. Now, this is an older study, from 2022. A study from Italy published in JAMA found that incidence of long COVID who had never had any vaccines was 42%. Okay, so it's pretty high. So if they said that if you never had vaccine, you got COVID, 42% of those had long COVID. And then they look at people who gotten 1 dose of vaccines, and then they got COVID. The incidence of long COVID dropped to 30%, went down 12%. And then they look at people who gotten 2 doses of vaccines and got COVID. The incidence of long COVID went down again to 17%. So it's another 13%, right? And then the people got 3 doses of vaccine. They got COVID. Okay, the incidence of long COVID went down from 17 to 16%. So at that point, there were almost no meaningful differences. That additional doses beyond 2 doses, at least in this study, didn't make a difference in terms of long COVID incidence or risk of long COVID. Now by this time, a booster likely means 4, 5, 6. Some mention even 7. I don't. May they have other conditions, right? Now we honestly don't know if these additional doses would help long COVID even more. There's no study for that. Plus, long COVID, it's complicated, and it's a mixed spectrums of symptoms. Some people, it's like having this autonomic nervous system, dysfunctions, various on a heavy spectrum. Some people just feel tired, no energy. So okay, there's multiple symptoms, and the evidence of booster to prevent long COVID is just not very strong there. All right. Now, coming back to the questions of IgG4, right? So that is the more of a discussions here. Is it good or bad? Well, in the context of COVID, all right, we don't know. Again, we don't know increased IgG4 specific to the spike protein, how it would affect our later immune responses and with the added doses each time. So we just simply don't have answer, unfortunately. So now, can you reference other things? Now, here we are showing a reference, not to scare people, but here is a other older study looking at IgG4 levels that is against malaria disease. All right. So now this report, basically says increased IgG4 level were linked to a higher risk of malaria infections and exacerbations. In other words, IgG4 oftentimes is tied to immune tolerance, which is a detrimental immune response. Right. So now this is IgG4 specific to malaria. Now, would this happen to mRNA vaccine induced jump in IgG4? We honestly don't have the answer. Why do I emphasize this mRNA vaccine induced jumping? Because, like I said, the one of the article, you can go back, look at it again. It's very specific, saying that well, you got infected, okay, first, or you primed with vector vaccine, this IgG4 jump doesn't happen. So there's no mechanistic explanations of why. Maybe the spike protein from mRNA vaccine that being expressed longer in the body than in some people, right? So there's a lot of unknown. What I say is just like, well, you could say maybe this, maybe that. Now that is uncertainty for sure. Now, when it comes to COVID-19 vaccine recommendations, it appears that US took the approach of just using antibody level responses from manufacturers. Right? If you go to look at all these, I stopped watching this in the past few months, because every time they discuss, it's like, well, hey, they manufacturer pull up a graph, hey, there's antibody response, it's good, it's high. All right. And then made broad recommendations saying that, and then the CDC is like, well, for the totality of benefits and risk, well, let's recommend for everybody. Make it easy. I don't know if it make it easy or make it more confusing sometimes, because clearly they didn't present, the clear benefits very well for the 90% of the people, honestly. Now, remember, vaccines are different than other medicines because we ask healthy people to take a vaccines. Okay, unlike other medicines, or all the other medicines that people take is because they have that disease. You have high blood pressure, you have high cholesterol, you have diabetes. You take this, right, to correct that abnormality. But for the for vaccine is like, I'm standing here. Well, I need to get something. I need to get something. I get fever, and hopefully that fever get over in 2 days, right? And maybe not get the disease later on. So the benefit of vaccines needs to be really clearly outweigh the risk for these otherwise healthy people, right? I hope you agree that. Now, at this point in time, the benefit of added doses become less clear. I wouldn't say there's none. It's just less clear, because the job, okay, what those people that need to do the job to explain the benefit didn't do very well. So sometimes we're here, that's why we do additional explanations. For many younger people and healthier older people, it's just not so clear cut anymore. That's not just my word. Many vaccine experts also agree with that. All right. And that is also reflected with this fall booster uptake, nationwide. And at the same time, we are also slowly finding out a lot of the previous unknown phenomena related to mRNA vaccines specifically. Unfortunately, it's more specific to mRNA vaccine and not so much with the vector vaccines, right? So now, I'm not saying that these are less known phenomena, like the IgG4 increase is definitively bad or harmful. And we also don't know if it is good or harmless either, right? So we really need more thorough studies than only relying on antibody titers every time. Yeah, it's like every time it's like that. Now, some people argue that, wait, this, we can think of it as flu. No, COVID is not flu. Yeah, COVID is not flu. It may resemble the symptoms these days, but if you miss a flu shot, like what I mean by miss is that if they predict a wrong strain, that year, that vaccine basically is useless, and a lot of people get flu. COVID is not like that. A lot of us walking around without the latest booster that came out for what, XBB, right? For XBB, and now we have JN1. Uh, but yeah, a lot of people may get infected, but it's not to a point that it's anything worse than any the previous year. So the whole population have generated immune responses. So even if we are not specific for that strain that year, we have our cellular immunity to combat these severe illness, right? So that's why COVID is not flu, right? Do we need to be mimicking the flu booster schedule? uh Currently the science is weak. I wouldn't say not there, but it's weak. um so so now, when there's so many unknowns, we need more thorough studies from the immunological side. Shouldn't we be more cautious in making health decisions when a medical intervention that we don't know much or new things coming out every day? And that is my answer to the title questions. Well, so I hope that we will all be more, cautious in making wise decisions moving forward. Okay, uh, none of us here, I'm sure, none of us are totally no have no immune against um, this disease. Here, I mean, all none of us, meaning all of my channel viewers. I don't have baby watching my channel. Okay, so for all my viewers here, all adults, all right. So we all have some degrees of immunity already. All right. So let's think thoroughly in the year 2024 and forward. Now, so that is all I have today. And thank you very much for everyone that tuning in on the last day of 2023. I saw someone from the England, from the UK, someone from Argentina, all over the world. I'm so happy to see you. Try to find the time and spend the last 20 minutes with me on this last day of 2023. I really wish everyone a healthy, safe, and successful 2024, no matter what your plan is. And thank you very much, and I hope to see you again right next year. Let me very quickly go through some chat here. That is all of the content that I want to talk about. Okay, if you're busy, want to get on your live. If you're watching rewatch, this part probably not as relevant to you. So I'm just trying to very quickly go through some of the chat message here. Okay, Southwest UK. Okay, raining here. Uh, Rule, thank you. Yeah, it's been raining on the East Coast all the time. Ever since what the 20th or something, it's just like raining and not no sun. Based on the correlation extrapolations, yeah. Unfortunately, a lot of these days, they when they approve for the booster is. Well, it's the antibody is higher. Yeah, you give any antigens to your body is gonna start producing antigens. You give any antigens to the body, your body is gonna start producing antibodies. With for people, everyone that with a good immune systems or functional immune systems. Yes, I am aware of that. Okay, thank you, Robin, for pointing out. I couldn't say this scientist's name very well. Merogenomics. Yes, I'm. Thank you, Robin, for pointing it out. Uh, yes, Ruth. Yes. I've seen this doctor talked about a couple times. Yeah, I wish there is a little bit more uh, studies, in the near futures, at least looking at doses that beyond 3 doses, right? So that would be more ideal here. All right. So all right. So anyway, I think that is everything here. So yeah. So Jonah, okay, you received 3 doses in 2021, 8 months between second and third. We were being told at the time wouldn't consider it, but we needed 3 for maximum protection. Yes, it appears so. Generally, 3 is what most people have. If people comply with the vaccine or willingly do so, or mandated to do so, which is also my case. My employer mandated 3 doses. So I try to think. It's about 8 months apart between the second and third. So uh beyond that, nothing much. There's nothing more afterward, honestly. I so need to know. I don't have anything about the altered formulation yet. Uh, sometimes the alternative formulations between the tested product and the or the earlier product and the newer products, sometimes like is the solvent, okay, sometimes are some of the stabilizers. Remember in the early days when it first rolled out, like say Pfizer's, they need to be stored in -80 degrees Celsius, who have -80s, right? Other than labs. So then they later reformulated to make it suitable to store at -20 degrees Celsius. So those type of formulations that I am aware. But beyond that, I need to do a little bit lookup. All right. So that's all I have. Okay. So take up another 5 minutes with you guys. Again, thank you very much for tuning in. And happy New Year. Okay. Happy New Year's Eve. Okay. And I will certainly see you again next year. And I also have a short coming up at 10 o'clock scheduled about some general health. Okay. If you want to watch those. All right. Take good care. All right. Bye bye.